Spectre Divide is the new hot FPS on the block, and as you'd expect, there are abilities in the game divided between 8 sponsors. My name is Abdullah, you're watching Candid.Technology, and today we're looking at all the 8 sponsors available in Spectre Divide. So let's get started. So when you start the game, you only get 4 sponsors. You get Pinnacle International, you get Morgan United, Bloom Technologies, and Riker Industries. The other 4, Vector Dynamics, Ghostlink Collective, Robotics, and Umbra Reconnaissance, need to be unlocked. You can either purchase them, it will cost you around 1,000 Spectre points or roughly $10 each, or you can take on their challenges, unlock them, and then we can go forward from that way. So that is how you unlock your Spectres. Speaking of individual Spectres themselves, for example, I have here, this is Pinnacle International. So Pinnacle International has 3 abilities. What you get is the Splinter Grenade.
Adrenaline.
So this is your Splinter Grenade. You can throw this, and this divides into 8 splinters, which then all explode. So this is your pretty standard grenade in terms of what you can. Messed up there a little bit. So this ability that I'm using, it's called Adrenaline. What this does is it gives you health up to 80 points. But if you're using Adrenaline, let me just place the Spectre here. Alright, so now if you equip your Adrenaline, you can see that this current Spectre is being healed and I can still use my pistol. But if I switch to my Spectre now, this Spectre is stimmed, which means it now has a fire rate and movement bonus, which goes away after a bit. So this way you can use your Adrenaline between your 2 Spectres for different effects. Finally, we have a flash grenade, which works like a pretty standard flash grenade in basically any game. So you throw the flash and you get flashed. This flash grenade was also sort of annoying because even if you were throwing this flash and face completely away from it, you will still get flashed. So you need to be really aware of where you're sending the flash, how it's coming off, because as you can see, no matter how far away I turn from the flash, as long as I'm in its vicinity, I still get flashed. So this is something to be aware of when throwing flashes, because it will flash anybody and everyone in that area. Moving on, we have Morgan United, where you get a smoke shift, a meltdown, and a hidden grasp. So how do these abilities work? Well, the first one is your smoke shift. So this sends out a smoke. The smoke lasts for 14 seconds and the ability takes 60 seconds to recharge. Now this is a very powerful smoke because if I enter this, I cannot see anything except somebody who's very close to me. Another aspect of this smoke is that if you throw it using a right click, your puck for the Spectre will also be transported inside the smoke, and the Spectre reveal line will not be visible. So nobody will be able to see your recall line, and your Spectre will be inside this smoke. So this is a really handy way of transporting your Spectre to another point in the map without worrying too much about whether people will be able to see that you're teleporting or not. Moving on, next thing we have is Meltdown. Meltdown is sort of your Molotov in the game. So when you throw it on the ground, it keeps doing damage to the enemy. So it damages a total of 168 health over 7 seconds. Once again, you can throw it either close or far away, and then this is how it looks. It's kind of a lame ability if you ask me, because it goes away too quickly and it's very easy to just hover over the edge of the Molotov and you can just avoid it. It's not a very big area, and it also doesn't really work when you throw it around walls. So as you can see, a lot of the area of the Molotov here, or the caustic fluid which it is, gets clipped off. So now the final ability is Hidden Grasp. So this is essentially a trap that cloaks itself once you've deployed it. So let me just go ahead and set this trap up. So this trap will hide itself, but as soon as somebody gets too close, it will create a slow zone. So players in this zone will get a movement penalty. If this bot was moving, he'd be moving very slowly. And that's pretty much it for Morgan United. It's kind of a map controller type of constructor class, and of course these pucks can all be shot by the enemy, so this trap will remain can be disabled like that. So if I set this up, you can see it, but the enemy might not be able to. Moving on, we have the third sponsor. It's called Bloom Technologies, and this is a healer. So you get 3 abilities. You get a shield that you can deploy. This is called a hex barrier. So you can set this barrier up. This is divided into 4 parts, each with 150 health. So enemies can shoot this down. As you can see, so I'm not using sort of a lot of firepower here. This is just the default pistol that the game starts with, and it only takes a few seconds to break the barrier down. This also can be shot from both sides. Next one is a healing drone. So you can heal both your allies and your friends. So if I want to heal my Spectre, I can just send this swarm of bees out there. Of course, I don't have any allies here to show you, but alt click is if damaged, you and your Spectre will be healed both for 40 health, and otherwise you can just send this to an ally and their Spectre for 80 health over 10 seconds. And if you use the healing ability yourself, you'll be able to restore 40 health over 10 seconds. Finally, you get a smoke. So this is essentially a swarm grenade which releases a swarm of bees, blocks visions, and damages enemies for 100 health over 12 seconds. So if I were to simply send this grenade out, inside this smoke there will be a lot of bees which will be stinging the hell out of our enemy. So that's for Bloom Technologies, the healer. So next up we have Riker Industries, and this is my favorite sponsor in the game by far. You get the standard 3 abilities. So the first one is your wave scan, and what this does is exactly as the name suggests. So you throw this device. You can also bounce it off walls if you want, but you can throw this device,
wave scan,
and then wherever you throw it, it sends a wave out in your general direction and detects any enemies in the process. This of course works through walls as well. So if I were to send a wave scan right here, it will detect the enemy, and then I can move and I can still see that there is someone behind that wall. Next up you have Hull Mine. Hull Mine is essentially a grenade that activates as a landmine. So you throw it like a nade, and then anybody who walks in that radius gets hit 3 times. You get 2 of these, so I can just place it here, and then anybody inside this radius will get hit by the hull mine. People can shoot out these hull mines and destroy them, so do keep that in mind. And then finally you have a sentry. So you can flip the direction of the sentry or its general viewpoint, and then press left mouse button to locate it. Now the sentry looks out for any enemies. For example, it will trigger every time it sees an enemy, like in this case, and will send you a notification near your crosshair. This also slows down enemies that are around it or in its line of sight essentially. So it acts as sort of an alarm and deterrent if in case you're getting flanked. Once again, this can also be shot down by enemies and destroyed rather easily, so just be a little mindful in your positioning. But otherwise, Riker is a pretty good recon class of ability if you like being a step ahead of your enemies. Let me just change sponsors. So next up we have Vector Dynamics. The way Vector Dynamic works is it's sort of a, well, I'll just show you. So the first one is you get amp effect where you can deploy your sentry or sort of your Spectre to your last known location wherever you drop the amp. The amp also gives you 15% fire rate buff for 8 seconds, and you can reactivate it to teleport your Spectre to whatever marker, and that gets a fire rate buff as well, and kills reset the buffer duration. So if I get this up and running, and if I take my pistol out, as you can see, the amped there is working up, and as long as that bar doesn't run out, I can summon my Spectre to whatever marker I put down when I first started the ability. And as long as I can get kills, the amped state will keep moving on, and then of course it also transfers over to your Spectre. If the amped bar sort of runs out, then that's it. That will be it for the ability. Next up we have a wall. So this is called Vector Wall. So you can either send out a slow moving wall that lasts for 10 seconds or a fast moving wall that lasts for 6 seconds. This wall can be shot through, so it only blocks vision. So if I send out the smaller wall, I can still shoot through it, and so can the enemies. So this can be used in positions where you're trying to rush someone and just want to spam bullets in a general direction without worrying too much about what you're doing, or sort of revealing your location, or you can trick people with it and then flank them on the sides like this. Pretty interesting stuff. Finally we have Nanosphere. So this is a bouncing nano swarm that does 90 damage over 2.5 seconds to the first enemy that it gets near. Once again, this can also be lined up and bounced off walls. So let's say I can send it out, bounce it, and it attaches itself to the first enemy and drains their health. It does have a little bit of a cooldown. So if I go it up again, keep in mind that this puck that you throw for this can be shot. So people can shoot out this puck and sort of deactivate the ability before it gets a chance to be activated. Next up, we've got Ghostling Collective. Ghostling Collective is another sort of recon ability, kind of, that you can use. So the basic ability is essentially a wall that you can create between maps. So you can just create this partition. This is not stopped by terrain actually. And touching the wall will blur the vision of whoever it is that's standing here. So if I go to again and I get my own Spectre in the line, you can see that the vision is blurred as long as I'm near the wall. So it can be a pretty good sort of a smoke screen situation to cover your movements. The recharge is 45 seconds here. Next one is a dupe. So this is essentially a body double that lasts for 5 seconds, I think 5.5. Additionally, you can also leave a dupe behind when you puck throw if you have a charge remaining, which lasts for 60 seconds. So if I equip this ability, as you can see, I have this dupe going in. This looks like that to you, but to the enemy it looks like a real player. Additionally, if I am doing a puck throw, I can leave a dupe behind. So whatever my last position was, this will look to the enemy like there is a Spectre here sitting and waiting, and they'll come out and try to shoot it, revealing their location to you. Finally, there is a dead zone ability, which is yet another grenade that creates a distortion field and blurs vision. Essentially another smoke. So I can throw this out, and this is what it does. So it's pretty powerful if you can trap people inside it, but otherwise it's relatively easy to skirt because you can just walk around the dead zone radius and you will be just fine. You can even get very close to it without really getting affected by the dead zone. So you can sort of see inside if you're on the edge and still be able to counter it. Next up we have Robotics. This is a bit of an interesting one. So you get a drone for your basic ability that moves forwards and heals you and your allies in its radius for 80 health in 12 seconds. And the alt fire will just make sure that the drone stays stationary. So if I send out this drone, anybody in this radius will be healed. Alternatively, I can just hold the drone here and it will keep working. Of course, the drone is shootable, so if the enemies try and shoot it, they will be able to get your healing duration down. Next up we have a Dazzler, which is another drone that follows your crosshair. After 1 second, it explodes and obscures the vision of enemies in sight. So if I send, this is basically a very targeted flash. So you throw this, then you can flash enemies like that. So you kind of have to get used to it because you have to throw and control the Dazzler as soon as it starts flying. And I think you can also flash enemies with it. No, you can't flash friendlies. But yeah. So you can use it for some really good lineups. For example, if I know an enemy is there, what I can do is I can throw a Dazzler and turn it around and have it explode. Of course, it's going to take some practice to get used to it, but you can essentially do 180 flashes and stuff if you don't have a wall to bounce off a flash. Finally, you have a Hyper Shield or a Hyper Dome, which is a grenade that creates a fast recall zone and 150 health buffer sort of. So if I place it here, this zone is protected by 150 health, so this will take a lot of shooting, and then it creates a sort of a fast recall zone. So if you throw your puck in here, your Spectre will be sent immediately. You won't have to wait for it to cross the map. You just get a fast zone wherever you want. Finally, we have Umbra Reconnaissance. As you can probably guess, this is a recon ability. The first thing is a drone, sort of, or a boomerang, whatever you want to like. It sticks to whatever surface it first hits, and after 1.2 seconds reveals enemies' locations within range for 2.5. So I can just throw it like this. Takes a second, and then it will reveal the location of any enemy in the range. So wow, I started the other ability accidentally. It also sets a target marker, which is essentially a marker that reveals enemies for 2.5 seconds. So you can just place it and have enemies come to you and get revealed. Instead, the recharge for this is 50 seconds. This is the Pulse Finder, which is a scanner that finds pulses every 2 seconds for 30 seconds. If any enemies are hit, they will be showing up on your crosshair, on your map or radar like this, and you can take them out. Of course, this works through walls as well, so you can figure out where your enemies are when you're trying to rush a bomb site or trying to figure out where the attackers are coming from. Finally, you get a Glare Burst. So this is a lot like a flamethrower ability that you might have seen in other games. So this is a drone that charges for 1.2 seconds and then blinds everyone in its sort of area of vision for 4 seconds. So what you have to do is just point, let it go, and that's it. You can flash people from a distance. And the flash lasts for around 4 seconds, so that's more than enough time for you to get in and get some frags. And those are all the different Spectres in Spectre Divide. If you like this video, consider subscribing, give us a thumbs up, press the bell icon and tell us in the comments below whether you've started playing Spectre Divide or not. If you'd like to know more about tech, visit our website Candid.Technology, follow us on social media, follow me on Instagram or Twitter, and we'll see you in the next video.